Alright, so right now we are going to create this right here. Alright, so if you haven't done so already, please get into Visual Studio, start up a new project. I'm just going to call it what it is, so I'm going to call mine Pretest03. You can call it whatever you want. You're not turning this in anyway. This is something that ideally when you take the hands-on test tomorrow, you may want to have this one open, you may not. All right, just to take a look at what's going on. I think we already did this one, and we did this one as a console, so now we're going to do it as a GUI project. All right, so as mentioned, Windows Form application, and I'm going to call this Pretest03. All right. First thing I'm going to do is I know that this has got to be bigger. All right, I know that the form has to be bigger, so I'm going to stretch it out a bit. Probably even needs to be bigger than that, but that's okay. All right, and I'm going to put in a list box. Now, we have not really talked about list boxes yet. I understand that. All right, so for lack of better words, we're going to right now. You're going to see these in a later chapter, just so you know. But for now, I just want to mention them to you and what they are. So I'm going to go over here to list box, double click, which puts one out here, and we're going to keep this simple. Rather than having like 25 different numbers that you can go and create, we're only going to make 10. All right, so I'm going to stretch that out so it looks about like this. Okay, and to make this a little easier for you to see on the screen, on here, if you look on the screen here, I had 11 buttons and they look like this. I'm going to put 2 in each row. All right, just so they're a little bit easier to see. All right, so I'm going to come in here and literally just start putting in buttons. Should be good. All right, that's not at all fantastic. It'll work for what we want to do here. All right, anybody have any problems with that, understanding what that is, etc.? All right, so literally now, this is my interface. I'm okay with it, so I'm going to draw that invisible lasso around everything. I'm going to right mouse click on it and choose lock controls. So now my interface is locked into place. All right. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to come in. I don't like the color of that form, so I'm going to change the background color. Let's make it something decent. I think that's the one I actually used in the example, so we'll just use that. All right. So what I'm going to suggest now is the order in which you do things. You don't have to do them in this order. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my form here, and I'm going to change the name. Just going to call it Form Pretest03. That'll be the name, and I'm going to go down to the text property, and I'm going to say Pretest for chapters 6 through 8 C#. All right. Again, it's not that important that you do that. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this list box right here, and instead of calling it list box 1, all right, I'm just going to call it list box numbers array. And again, if you don't like my names and you want to use your own, that's fine. It's not a problem. All right. You don't actually put any text in here for a list box, and don't worry, because when it runs, it won't say list box array up here. It'll say nothing when we first start. All right. So now taking a look at what we have on our pretest, display array, display lowest, display highest. Okay. So the first one, I'm going to call this button display array. That's the name of it. And I'm going to call the text display array. All right, it looks like I'm going to have to make it a little wider. I don't worry about that right now. All right, the second one is going to be called button display lowest. And the text will be display lowest. All right, I can already tell, like I said, these are going to have to be made wider. It's okay. The next one will be button display highest. And again, the text will be display highest. Remember, in text, you can have a blank space in there. That's fine. What I'm going to do is just make these a little bit wider. In fact, let's do this. Let's unlock these. Make these a little wider. Okay. I think that'll work. So I've got so far, I've renamed the form Pretest03. I've renamed the list box numbers array. My first button display array. My second one, button display lowest. My third one, button display highest. That should be plenty wide, I would think, so I'm going to lock these back up again. All right, so I'm up to my fourth button, and that's display sum. And the text will be display sum. My next one is display average. I used AVG. You didn't have to do that. All right. The next one is sort ascending. So I'm going to call it button sort ascending. The next one's going to be button sort descending. All right. What's left? Binary search, clear list box. So this will be binary search. This one will be clear list box. And the last two are exit and help. Oops. Now again, if you don't like the order in which I put these, move them around. All right? Any questions on any of these? Any questions on anything we've done so far? I can go over here now and I can click this down arrow, and it looks like one button still wasn't renamed, and that's my sort descending. Okay, then I better fix that. Button sort descending. Says it's invalid, which means I must already have one by that name. There's sort ascending. I'm not sure what the problem is. Button sort descending. Well, usually that means I've already got one by that name. Display array, display lowest, display highest, display sum, display average, button sort ascending. Well, that's where I screwed up. And there's the help. Again, I can always go down here and look and make sure that everything has been named okay. All right? All right. What do I want to do next? Well, again, as always, it's up to me. What I'm going to do, you don't have to do it this way, is what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my accept button and I'm going to set my cancel button. My accept button I'm just going to set to display array. My cancel button I'm going to set to clear list box. Everybody hear that? So I'm going to click on an empty spot in the form. I'm going to go up to the top. I'm under accept button. I'm going to choose button display array. And then I'm going to go down to my cancel button, which is down here. Click on it, and I'm going to choose, what do we say, clear list box. All right. So I have set both of these. Again, I set the accept button to button display array, and I set the cancel button to button clear list box. All right. Next thing I want to do is I want to set my tab order. So I'm going to set it up as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right. So I'm going to put my mouse here, and I'm going to do a view tab order, and I'm going to set 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So now my tab order is correct. All right, do another view tab order. Make the numbers go away. Not a bad time to come in and do a save all. So I've got that. Let's do one last thing. I'm going to click on the form again right here, and I'm going to go down to start position, and I'm going to choose center screen. All right. So I clicked on the form, went to start position, and chose center screen. Now, if I run this, it won't do a flaming thing. But I've got all this stuff done. So the interface is built, correct? All right. Well, and I'm going to do this, believe it or not, because it's a little bit easier to start with, I'm going to do this not in the regular order. Now, some of you, for whatever reason, it seems to bug you. You know, I want that to be first in code, then that one, then that one, then that, etc. If that's the way you are, then double-click on the first one, and that'll open up the code window. Then the next one, then the next one, then the next one. Okay? So now I've got my code windows open for all 11 of the buttons. Okay? And they're in that order. The first thing I'm going to do, if you look up on the screen here, is for my help, I'm not going to put in a great help message. In fact, what I'm going to put in for my help message is this. Right there. Not that that's fantastic or anything, but that's what I'm going to use. All right, so I'm going to copy this to the clipboard, so I have it. You'll have to copy it in. And if you don't want to use it, if you don't want to do it, then don't. All right, I'm going back to here, and I'm going to create a string that I'm going to call OUTPUTSTR for output string, and I'm going to initialize it to the empty string, just to start with. And I'm going to add stuff to it. All right, I'm going to paste in that text that I just put in. All right, I'm not worried that it's giving me error messages. That's going to go away in a second. Make this a little smaller. So using your C# console program, that looks like it's about wide enough. That's a start. I don't need to say a screenshot is shown below. That's just kind of stupid. So this is what I changed mine to. Again, yours doesn't have to exactly be that. All right, but I just want something so when I press the help button, it's going to show me something. All right, so now I'm going to come in and do my message box dot show, and well, what do I want to show? Output str. And we'll put in here, I don't know, program help. I don't know if that's great, but it's fine. My buttons, I'm just going to have an OK button there. And for the icon, it sounds to me like that's information. So that's that whole routine. Okay, now let's double check. I'll come right back to it, but I'm going to save and I'm going to run it and I'm going to click my help button. And there's what I get. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? I mean, by now that really and truly should. Okay, so that's the whole thing. Again, not grand, not glorious, not fantastic, but it works. If I was going to actually be producing this, you know, and I was going to try to sell it to people, I wouldn't have this in there as the help. And I'm saying that to you because with the fourth year people right now, or fourth semester, tomorrow we're starting to create Android apps, and they're going to have help on theirs. Their help is meant to be very professional because you're trying to sell the app to somebody. All right, and you want to make sure that what is said there it really is reflective of what the program is going to be doing. All right, everybody has that. All right, I'm gonna now you don't have to do this, but I'm gonna jump back for just a second because I always forget exactly what it is. There's that code that I gave you for the exit button, so I'm going to put that in right now, or put it in next. Need that. So I'm going to come up to my exit button, and I'm going to paste in that. So that's the second one. a couple of you, I think everybody's getting it now. The only time you use that equal sign is if you want to take some action based on what button or buttons or whatever they click. Here, if they click the yes button, we want to exit. If they don't click the X button, we don't want to do anything. Now that should make sense to all of you by now. All right? So again, I'll come right back to it, but let's try. There's exit, exit program, exit now. Say no, it stays there. Say yes, you're gone. All right? So I now have 2 of the 11 buttons that I've been working with. 2 of them are done, which means we still have a lot to go. But it's a start. Any questions on anything we've done so far? Anything? So if you look at our design, we have done the exit and we've done the help. Let's do the clear list box, then we'll take a break. All right? All right. So for the clear list box, it's real simple. It's the name of our list box, which is list box numbers array dot I think it's dot items dot clear. Oops. That literally is it. All right. Now this one, if I run this, I don't think I can I put anything in here? No. Okay, so I can't test that exactly. So I want to show you, you don't have to do this. Please listen to that. You don't have to do this. But I want to show you that indeed the clear works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here and I'm going to click on the list box, and for items, that's the thing we're clearing, I'm literally just going to put a few things in there. And you notice once I do that and click OK, you can see what's in there. All right. So when I run this again, help, everything's cool. Exit, no, I don't want to. Clear list box, it's gone. Make sense? All right. We want to make sure that every time we click what's in that list box, it clears, which is why we put in that command. All right. Now, I don't want those names in there, so I'm going to go back to where it said collection, and I'm just going to remove them. So it's empty again. All right. I'm going to save. It's 9:09. Let's come back, please, at 9:25. All right.